Should Scott Miller not be blamed for the disaster that is Duke Nukem Forever? Well, I was talking to Yatta a few weeks ago, and he said that in my video that I made about him, that I was being unfair towards Scott Miller, that Scott Miller was not to be blamed for Duke Nukem Forever taking as long as it is. And the reasons, like he said, that he was not directly involved with Duke Nukem Forever, that he was off doing his own thing, making money and being successful with Max Payne and Prey and things like that. Here's what I have to say about that. I don't know if Scott Miller was in fact involved heavily in Duke Nukem Forever or not, but I consider that to be irrelevant, because he should have been. Regardless of whether he was or not, he should have been. Scott Miller is or at least was, I don't know what his current standing is at 3D Realms, but he was at the head of 3D Realms alongside with George Broussard. He was in a position where he had some influence over the company and the direction of the games that they make. So he was in a position where he could have done something, and he should have done something. Okay, no matter what, if you're at the top of the company, and your company's making a product, I think you can have some kind of influence over the products that you're making. Okay, George Broussard he basically, like Yatta said, it was all George Broussard's fault, and I have no doubt that George Broussard bears the lion's share of the blame. But Scott Miller has to be blamed at least for being negligent. Okay, you know, it's like, and here's the thing, like, when people told Yatta these things, he believed them. I would be skeptical. I would want some kind of evidence for that. You know, like, after, I mean, oftentimes I hear, you know, people trying to claim that this individual who's at the top of the whole thing cannot be blamed because they were in a position where they were powerless to do anything about it. I'm always very skeptical about those claims. You know, they would say those things about Hirohito after World War II. Oh, he was not to be blamed for all the aggression that Japan was doing. In fact, it turns out he was masterminding the whole thing. I'm not saying that Scott Miller, it's the same situation with Scott Miller, but it could be. We shouldn't just be so gullible as to believe whatever we're told, that Scott Miller, oh, he was so innocent and not to be blamed. Okay, even if he wasn't directly involved with Duke Nukem Forever, he should have been. So he's guilty, at least in the sense that he should have done something, and either he didn't do anything or he was ineffective at accomplishing something meaningful, which is still worthy of blame, in my opinion. I do think that George Broussard should be blamed significantly more than Scott, but, you know, Scott, there's enough blame to go around, alright? And, you know, that's all I have to say about that. I do think that 3D Realms is a company of fuck-ups, and, you know, it wasn't until after the IP fell into Gearbox's hands that we finally get a firm release date, which we should have gotten, like, at least 13 years ago. The whole when it's done thing was old and tired. And they never even created that slogan. It was id's thing. Anyway. Anyway. I guess that's all I have to say. This is Enigma Hood signing off.